We want to talk about fast dopamine versus slow dopamine. This is now week 4 of this challenge, and we've done, for anyone that's new here, we've done awareness for the first week for this ADHD reset, and then we've done direction, and then we've done habits, and now we're in the dopamine segment of this challenge, right? So there's 20 days, 4 weeks, excluding the weekends, right, where we're doing an ADHD reset. So hopefully you're enjoying this if you have been following through. And if this is your first time watching, maybe you can go back to the beginning of the playlist, which will be linked in the description, to better catch up on the actual challenge itself, and hopefully it can help you. It's 20 days of just helping you with this reset, right? Now, fast dopamine versus slow dopamine. And we want to control the baseline, right? So we've got this baseline of dopamine, right? That is like a standard for dopamine, right? And for us as ADHDers, we have a low supply with the kind of the type of brain that we have, right? The wiring that we have, we're lower than the baseline to start off with. So dopamine borrows from tomorrow um, in some cases, right? Or some builds tomorrow, right? And I'm going to explain to you why. So what's happening here is that there is this feeling of I want to feel good right now. I want a reward right now, right? And that's kind of what our brain is telling us. I want to feel good now. Where am I going to get this dopamine from, right? And like I said to you, we're below the baseline, right? So this is we're underneath here first thing in the morning. We're trying to climb to get above that baseline, right? And our ancestors never had a chance of being able to do that as easy as we get to do it now, right? Because we've got technology, we've got so many things that can easily get us to just get immediately to that baseline or above it, right? And what this all comes down to is energy, focus, and emotional stability, right? So every action that we're taking is either going to raise it, any of those things, or drain it, right? It's going to either drain the energy, decrease the focus, or decrease or drain the emotional stability, right? Whichever one we choose. So if you look at fast dopamine sources, the fast ones are instant. You pick up your phone, you get dopamine immediately, right? So obviously that seems to be the logical thing for you to do when you wake up and your eyes open and you're looking for dopamine. You're like, well, I don't need to go for a walk. I don't need to do, this heavy task to get my dopamine when I could just pick up my phone and get that, right? But we're not conscious of that was the reason why we picked up the phone a lot of the time. So we just do that and think, why am I picking up the phone all the time, man? Like, I'm addicted. No, it's just that you want dopamine and you're just trying to find the quickest way to get it. You want it instant, right? So instant gratification or instant just reward, right? Get that dopamine, that motivation to do something, and it's effortless. It's not that hard, man. All the fast dopamine sources are not hard, man. It's effortless, like barely anything to get the outcome that you want, right? And it's intense. So examples would be obviously doom scrolling, sugar, porn, alcohol, binging content, binging Netflix, like um, many others, right? Vaping, all these kind of things, right? They're just easy to get the dopamine that you need, makes you feel good, but it costs you later, right? That's the key. That's how you find out if something's fast or slow, is the fast one costs you later. So the thing is, there's a dopamine leak when you're going through the fast ones, right? So the fast ones, the dopamine fills the cup. So you're like, oh yeah, I filled up my cup, all good. But then there's a leak now in the cup, right? And the crash and the crave repeats. So like what you're doing is you fill up the cup and then there's the leak. So the leak is making it go down a little bit. And then as it's going down, you're like, oh, I need to fill this cup again. And then you want to fill it up again with the same old dopamine source that you went from before to fill it up. But then it leaks again. And then you're going to crash, right? And in this cup, if this cup was the example, it will just end up smashing to pieces for all the pressure that you put from constantly filling it up with water, right? So slow dopamine is something more that you earn, right? You earn it. You go to the gym, you do a workout, you've earned the dopamine. You feel really good after it because you feel like you've earned it. Yeah, like I've done a really good workout, right? Delayed, right? So it's something that, it's gonna take me a while to get there. I've got to do this to get that. Like, so it's delayed. It's not happening straight away, but you're definitely going to get the dopamine from it. And it's stable as well, right? So examples of that would be movement. So if you do a walk, it doesn't have to be gym. You could just do a walk and that'll be enough. Finishing a task, just having something finished is something great as well. Something that you might have friction with. Oh man, I've got to do that task. But when you finish it, you feel great, right? The relief, learning, creating, meaningful effort, right? These are all things that are going to give us dopamine as well, but just it's harder at first. There's a little bit of friction at first, like to actually get going, but it pays off later. It makes you feel much better at the end. You feel really good once you've done these things that are on the screen. And naturally, that's what our brain is like this is what our brain should be optimizing for, is any of those things I just mentioned there as examples. We should be moving more as ADHDers. Like, our brain is not optimized for just sitting down on a chair and looking at a screen. Like I've said this before, but it's not it's not the way we're wired. We're not wired for that. We're not wired for just like sitting on task and not finishing. Like we're so important. Like we just want to get things done. We literally want to get it done. We're not putting it off because we don't like we're lazy. We're putting it off because of the executive dysfunction. That's the reason. It's because we're overwhelmed. It's not because we don't want to finish it. We want to finish it. We want it off the plate, right? And yeah, like creating is just something that we're just really good at doing. We love creating. We love thinking of ideas. We love the possibilities of things. We love being very impulsive. But anything that stops that is obviously the friction, right? But that's where we can get our dopamine from, is all those things. So the rule is really to protect the baseline first, right? So everything else becomes easier. So you really want to basically you're going to go from being below the baseline. And then when you do the slow ones, it's going to bring you up nicely to the baseline and above the baseline, and then come down nicely onto the baseline so you can stay there, right? Whereas what's happening with the fast ones is that you're going up really high and then you're coming all the way down like a roller coaster below the baseline, maybe even lower than you were before, and you have to now bring yourself back up again. And that's the problem with the quick ones. But the quick ones just give you the instant gratification, which you've got used to having now, right? So, what my actual step for you today is, to keep it really simple, is replace one of the fast ones that you normally just think of one that's just like, man, that you've abused it crazy, right? You're abusing this one crazy. It might be doom scrolling. Maybe you're just like, you could definitely see clearly that you scroll a lot. Replace that with a slow one, right? Or for example, like so for example, it could be you doom scroll and that's the thing that you're doing prominently, like that's the source that you're going for the most that you can notice. Do a 10-minute walk instead. Or if it's sugar, you're abusing sugar, eating all these snacks and all this stuff, replace it with protein, and maybe you can have natural sugars instead, like from fruits and water, right? So that's all I want you to do is just notice which one you're actually, that is the one that you keep going to the most. Is that the vice? And replacing it with a slow one. Anyway, take care. Peace.